o'clock. Ay, gilukuan. Start. The 98th regular session of the 8th Sangguniang Panlungsod, September 7, 2021, 1 p.m. is hereby called to order. I'd like everyone to stand for our invocation, singing of National Anthem, Provincial Hymn, PCL, and Vice Mayor's Creed. I'd like to request City Councilor Monsanto to lead us in prayer.
Let us put ourselves in the presence of our Lord, and for our brother Catholic, you can make the sign of the cross as we pray. Almighty God, we praise you and we thank you, O Lord, in giving us this time. We acknowledge that apart from you, we are nothing. That is why, O Lord God, as we come before your presence this afternoon, it is our prayer that you will be with us, leading, guiding, and giving us the wisdom as we will be discussing things and matters that concerns the constituents of the city of Malaybalay, as well as on those concerns and matters that will help the city of Malaybalay in its direction, O Lord God. It is likewise our prayer that you will give guidance, wisdom to our presiding officer, the Honorable Vice Mayor, the members of the council, the staff, and all the personnel who are here. We commit to you, O Lord God, the rest of our time this afternoon, as we ask all these things in the mighty name of Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas. Kayang magiliw, sa silanganan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang binirang, tuyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupa. to go back soon to sweet Bukidnon, where lovely mountains hide with forests tall and grand bring memories to me, the home I long to see. There my heart yearns to be, in faraway Bukidnon land, under its blue starry skies, where love and joy never die. There my heart yearns to be, in faraway Bukidnon land, under its blue starry skies, where love and joy never die.
Let us recite together the Philippine Councilor's Creed, and please raise your right hand. I am a Philippine Councilor, mandated by law to enact measures and other ordinances that redound to the general welfare of my constituents and their pursuits for happiness, peace, and prosperity. I believe in public service above self as the guiding principle of my official act. And as I tread the pathways of local legislations, may the Almighty guide my mind and heart, that I shall be true to my constituents and the Filipino people.
Creed of Vice Mayor. I am a Vice Mayor, and my covenant with my people is to devote myself to the public. By divine providence and by the will of the people, I am mandated to preside over the local legislature, that with integrity and statesmanship, I shall lead the local legislature to enact measures and ordinances for the common good and fulfill my people's aspirations for happiness, peace, and prosperity. May Almighty God help me consecrate myself for the people I am called to serve. Thank you, City Councilor Monsanto. Okay, I'd like to request the Secretariat to please call the roll.
Honorable J. Warren R. Pabiliaran,
Present.
Honorable Councilor Estelito R. Marabe,
Present.
Honorable City Councilor Nico P. Aldiger, online, Your Honor.
Just continue.
Honorable City Councilor Rendon P. Sanggalang, Honorable City Councilor Hollis C. Monsanto, Honorable City Councilor Erwin A. Damasco, Honorable City Councilor Cromwell Keril D. Dinlayan,
Present.
Honorable City Councilor Luel M. Tortola, Honorable City Councilor Victor M. Barroso, Honorable City Councilor Christopher B. Soria,
Present.
Honorable City Councilor Kathleen Cecile C. Pagaling,
Present.
Honorable City Councilor Bonifacio G. Valiente,
Present.
Honorable City Councilor Renato S. Sumbungan, Honorable City Councilor Dave Julian Balore,
Present.
Aldegar. Ma'am.
Honorable City Councilor Nico P. Aldiger.
Present, Mr. Chair.
There are 8 in the plenary, or Your Honor, and 6 online.
6 balik.
Oh no, bali.
Okay, complete attendance.
Yes.
6 on the plenary and then 8 sa online. The chair declares quorum. Approval of business, City Councilor Monsanto being the chairman of the Committee on Laws, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I move for the approval of the order of business for the 90th regular session, Mr. Chair.
Any second?
Second.
Any more discussion? Any amendments? City Councilor Barroso, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor and colleagues. Good afternoon. In other matters, Mr. Chair, I request that the memorandum of agreement, consultancy agreement between the City of Malaybalay and Ms. Eileen Ortega Magamo be included in the minutes.
Any second? Any more discussion? Any objection? The chair stands to the motion of City Councilor Barroso to add one other matters is hereby approved. Any other matters? Any amendments from the floor? None from the online. City Councilor Tortola, you are recognized.
I would like to register on other matters, Mr. Chair, two items with regards to the resolution from our Assessor's Office, Mr. Chair.
What?
Regarding the appraisal of properties, two
Appraisal-
properties, Mr.
Appraisal
Chair.
Committee.
On the appraisal committee, Mr. Chair.
Any second? Any more discussion? Any objection? The chair stands to the motion of City Councilor Tortola is approved. Any other matters from the online members? Any other matters? None? Any objection to the motion of City Councilor Monsanto as amended by Councilors Barroso and Tortola? Any objection? The chair stands to the motion of City Councilor Monsanto is approved. Okay. Next item.
Reading and approval of the minutes of the previous sessions, 97th regular session held on August 31, 2021.
City Councilor Monsanto, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move, Mr. Chair, to dispense the oral reading of the minutes of the previous session, particularly the 97th regular session held on August 31, 2021. And instead, Mr. Chair, we will read it we will review and read it silently, Mr. Chair, page by page. I so move.
Any second? Any more discussion? Any objection? The chair stands to the motion of City Councilor Monsanto to dispense the actual reading and instead review it page by page is hereby approved. Page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then last page 7. Any correction? Any motion to approve? City Councilor
Yes, Mr.
Monsanto?
Chair. There being no correction after the review of the minutes, Mr. Chair, I move to approve the minutes of the 97th regular session held on August 31, 2021, Mr. Chair.
Any second? Any more discussion? Any amendments? Objection? The chair stands to the motion of City Councilor Monsanto to approve the minutes of the 97th regular session is hereby approved. So ordered. Privilege hour, would like to avail the privilege hour? Anybody from the floor? None? Online members? Anybody? Would like to avail? Let's continue. Question hour, Madam Secretary.
Question R, we have with us this afternoon Ma'am Magnolia O. Improgo, City Human Resource and Management Office, and Ma'am Eileen Ogamo to answer question and concerns relative to the consultancy contract between the city government of Malaybalay and Miss Eileen Ogamo.
Okay, before we continue, Ma'am Magnolia Improgo is present, Ma'am. Nakalagbok. How about kang Ma'am Eileen Ogamo?
Yes, sir.
Nagyapon?
Yes, sir.
Di makita. Okay, City Councilor Monsanto, you are recognized.
Mr. Chair, thank you very much. Good afternoon to our guests, Ma'am Progo and Ma'am Gamo. This is in relation to the committee report of the Honorable Barroso, the last session, Mr. Chair, where he moved for the approval supposedly of the consultancy contract between the LGU of Malaybalay City, and Ms. Eileen Ogamo, Mr. Chair. I made some comments on that, Mr. Chair. So, as far as the necessity, as far as the contents of the consultancy contract, so in order to have a clear insight, Mr. Chair, of the same, we invited our guest for today, Mr. Chair, to answer queries regarding that matter, Mr. Chair. So, with that, I move to suspend the House rules, Mr. Chair, in order to accommodate our invited guest this afternoon.
Any second? Any more discussion? Any objection? The chair stands on the motion of City Councilor Musanto to suspend the House rules, more particularly to allow non-members to speak before the session is hereby approved. At this juncture, I'd like to request Ma'am Maggie and Ma'am Eileen Gamo to sit here in front, ma'am. Chairs provided here. There. Okay, City Councilor Monsanto, I'll give you the time.
With the indulgence of the chairman, of our presiding officer, can we be given a copy? Actually, I have not seen the copy of the contract, Mr. Chair.
Last session, the 97th regular session, more particularly on
That was why I am checking here in the
nasa kuan
online notes, Mr. Chair, if for a while, Mr. Chair.
nani
Oo,
last session 97 referral number 4, referral number 4 tabang isa palihog ko Rinlin.
May tabangin sa ko.
97th regular session, referral number 4.
Agenda 19 na. Wala iya hagin. Wala 97.
Last week na agenda na dito. Referral number 4. Na dito. Gi-attach na siya.
Okay. Okay. May I continue, Mr. Chair?
Okay, continue.
Thank you very much. This is some query, Mr. Chair, to Ma'am Improgo. Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. This is the consultancy contract, ma'am, between the city government of Malaybalay and Ms. Eileen Ogamo, particularly in the City Human Resource Management Office, ma'am. Now, my query is, this consultancy, this is the very first time that we have this consultancy contract, ma'am.
Any response?
Sir, come again, sir.
Is this the very first time that we have this consultancy contract, or this is only a renewal?
For me, this is the first time I've seen this contract.
So before, we don't have any contract of consultancy or services with any consultant assigned in our office.
When I joined the city, I learned that Ma'am Eileen was the consultant during the first reorganization in 2005 to 10.
Okay. So, Ma'am Eileen was the consultant before the 2005, ma'am.
Yeah, during that first reorganization.
Reorganization.
Yes, sir.
And was Ma'am Eileen also the consultant during the reorganization? The updated, the amended one under Ordinance number 968?
Oh, I haven't seen the contract, but she is one of the, she's there no, during the meetings.
Okay, okay. Now, my question is that are there still any other matters that the office still has to formulate that we are still needing a consultant, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Thank you for that question. Before I will answer that, I would like to inform the body that the HR office right now, we are moving towards our accreditation with the Civil Service Commission through the Prime HRM. Prime HRM stands for Program to Institute Meritocracy and Excellence in Human Resource Management. Along that way, we will be evaluated and assessed with the civil service in our systems and processes in the 4 areas like recruitment, training and development, rewards, and performance management. Now, on the area of recruitment, we are moving towards competency-based recruitment. That is why you can see in the contract about the development of competency framework. So right now, we still have not this in place, so we are still developing. So these are the needs of the office right now.
That is a new program, ma'am.
Yes, yes, sir.
It was not implemented yet in our office,
Yeah, not yet because we are still in the process of developing the competency model and the other tools.
competency model. Can you elaborate on that, ma'am?
Ano siya, sir? Before, our recruitment system, we only base it on the minimum qualification standards, which include training, education, experience, and the eligibility. Right now, civil service is moving towards competency-based, where we include core competency, organizational or leadership competency, and the technical. So mo nang gina-work out karon sa technical working group actually.
Is that required in all positions, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Even if you are not applying or be appointed to the head of office?
Yeah, it is required from the lowest rank, utility worker, driver, up to the department head.
Because you made mention of a leadership.
Yeah, it will depend on that position that requires leadership skill, competency. The second level positions and up. But for first level, which do not require, they are not needed.
So wala ba yung mga seminar nga gikandak ang civil service to that effect para gid sa itong mga empleyado sa HR?
We had, sir. We had. The problem right now we had in our office is the division, which is supposed to look into this matter. The division head is just resigned, is vacant, and we really lack technical people to focus on this area.
So supposedly naagi tay division para ana, ma'am, in
Yes,
our
sir.
office.
Yes.
Ngano dili na to siya ma-fill upan?
We are still in the process of filling up the positions and reviewing and finalizing the plantilla before we can publish. Due to the reorganization, we need to submit a new plantilla to the civil service and it's still being reviewed thoroughly.
Ang point man ko nato, ma'am, kay we cannot be having Ma'am Gamo as our consultant, no, for the succeeding years unya. Diba? So we need somebody nga nanagid sa sulodaan who knows this. Diba? Kay we do not know ug naay mga possibility of Ma'am Gamo working outside sa LGO, then siya atong consultant on that matter alone na unsa kaha ang mga possibility.
I would like to say that having a consultant, even not Ma'am Eileen, is advantageous in our city because the consultant can oversee the whole picture of how the LGU works. It will lessen being subjective. So the consultant can view what we need objectively. Kuan man gud siya if the department heads are actually involved in all the systems. And having a third party, an oversight, would be beneficial to our LGU.
Well, on the other matters, ma'am, no?
Yes, sir.
Are we allowed by the commission on audit to hire a consultant?
Yeah, it's the prerogative of the LGU to hire.
A consultant.
Yes, sir.
Kay naamang ko yung nadunggan nga yung mga consultancy nga gipang disallow. Kay dili ko no allowed mag-hire og i-consultant. Now, are we not having problems nga ingon ana?
I don't think so, sir.
This is the first time nga nag-hire tag consultant diya sa ato sa HRMO.
In my time, this is the first time that I have this.
Okay. For the moment, Mr. Chair, I am giving way to other councilors also to ask their questions, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, City Councilor Monsanto. Any other members would like to ask our guest? City Councilor Sanggalang, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Ma'am Improgo and Ma'am Eileen Gamo. Just have few clarifications, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
I believe this is in relation to the questions thrown by Honorable Monsanto. With respect to the hiring of this consultancy, I believe the contract is from September of this year to December of also this year. So that will be 4 months. So my first question, Mr. Chair, is will that be enough period to give the city government of Malaybalay the services needed from Ms. Gamo?
I think Ma'am Eileen can best answer that. Would that be enough if you will look into our systems?
The 4-month period
4 months, kasi
consultancy,
4 months
ma'am.
lang yun.
Sir, if I may now. Just to give a clarification, the consultancy is not only limited for the requirements of the reorganization and the development of the assessment tools. And it's a good question from the Honorable Gentleman, Councilor Sanggalang, because for the assessment tools, depending on the timeline of the local government in opening up of the positions, part of the work that I'll be doing is preparing all the assessment tools for all positions that will be opened for publication. Now, if that will extend until next year, then definitely the work is not finished. One of the things also that the mayor has asked me to do is not only for the reorganization, but just to revisit what has been done many, many years ago. One of the things that we have put in place are the systems like the Geographic Information System. We had the Integrated Revenue Generation System. And it's good that Councilor Sanggalang is here because a case in point of the work that I do is as an organization development specialist, one of the things that I do is identify key interventions that will make the operations of the local government more efficient. If you can recall, Councilor, remember there was a session dun sa Sir Saloysas?
Yes.
And you were asking if there was any way that the penalties or erring drivers who have been committing the same penalty in terms of yung sa parking ba yun, sir? I can't recall. But you were pointing out to how the local government can easily track drivers who have been repeated offenders. Now, part of my work, having heard that, is to look into how that can be incorporated in the existing existing system of the local government, which is the IRG, revenue generation system niya, the integrated revenue generation system. And if I can recall, sir, I sent you a screenshot that we were able to actually help the city treasurer adding a few revisions to the system on how they will see the record of each driver and how many times they've already committed the infraction. So for now, I think what the mayor has asked is for a September to December, not precluding the possibility of continuing the consultancy should there be a need with the other areas that the mayor wants to be done. But also for the record, I think there was a question, there was a query a while ago, if this was the first time or if there was a consulting work that already has been done. Apart from the 2005 to 2010, I've been working on a pro bono with the local government since July. I've been working with the mayor. He has asked me to help put back the transaction tracking system, which was implemented in 2006. Unfortunately, there had to be revisions because there were portions of the system that were not continued. And so the mayor wanted me, that's why he asked me to come back to help last July. But I've been helping the local government, sir. It's just that the mayor insisted that this time I be compensated.
Okay. Follow-up question, Mr. Chair.
Okay, continue.
Actually, that's part of my queries. Because I remember we were doing this reorganization of the personnel of the City of Malaybalay, and you were there as our advisor, as our consultant. So during those times, you were not paid, ma'am?
No, sir, I
Those
was
were
working.
pro bono?
Yes, I was doing the work pro bono.
All right, thank you for that. And I see that the mayor has full trust and confidence in you. And as mentioned by Ma'am Improga earlier, you were also a consultant in 2005 until 2010.
Yes, sir.
So other than that experience that you have with a local government unit here in Malaybalay, do you have any, because personally,
Yeah.
I have no idea about your expertise. So being a legislator who will be authorizing the city mayor to enter into contract with you, we have to know really the qualifications of the consultant
Yes, sir.
that we will be hiring. So can you enlighten us more about your qualifications aside, more specifically on the experience that you have, aside from the 2005 to 2010?
Okay, I'm also consultant of the local government of Taguig in the area of organization, development, HR, and systems. Since 2010 up to the present, I don't know if all the honorable members of the chamber have been given my curriculum vitae, but I've had some stint in government. I used to be chief of staff of Senator Mercado from year 2000 to 2008. I've also been a consultant of the Climate Change Commission, also for organization development and HR and systems in 2018. I have my own company. We've been in existence for the last 10 years, and we've been providing consulting work in the same area for JICA, the JICA Japan and JICA Manila. Also with the provincial government of Kamsur, Isabela, Imus, as well as Nickel Asia and other organizations, sir. So I'd like to think that I have a fairly good experience in the area of organization development, HR, and systems. I think that's one of the key. If you look at the work that we do or I do, it's not only human resource, but it's also about the structure and the systems to make an organization efficient. Even if you have very good people, if the systems are not in place and the structure does not allow for good people to flourish, it will not also maximize the capacity and the performance of the organization.
All right. May I continue, Mr. Chair?
Okay, continue.
Based on the statements you made, ma'am, it seems that you are very experienced in this kind of matter. So, however, you mentioned about you are still a consultant of Taguig City from 2010 until present, correct?
Yes, sir.
So will that not affect your services for the city of Malaybalay if you are serving Taguig and Malaybalay City at the same time?
Definitely not, sir, because the hours that I render in Taguig are not as much because we've been able to set up the system. And so what I do is I oversee a good number of very good supervisors. And if there are any issues, these concerns are elevated to me. But so far, it has been because of the training. Again, the people that we've handled and we manage have already been sufficiently trained. In fact, if you may allow me to say it, sir, the role of a consultant, the goal actually of a consultant is to achieve redundancy in such a way that the consultant will no longer be needed after a period of time. I have been requesting that I be allowed to leave Taguig already. I have asked the proponent, the officials, if I can go, because I really believe that that we've trained people sufficiently that I can leave. But they have requested, wag muna daw, sir. Kaya umabot kami
So
ngayon.
Mayor Vico Soto doesn't want to let go of you first.
No, sir, that's Mayor Lino Cayetano.
Taguig.
Vico
Oh, yeah,
is in Pasig.
Pasig, yeah, I'm sorry.
But we're also helping Mayor Vico in another capacity.
So, you mean to say that in Pasig, no, in Taguig City, you hired personnel or gikuha lang nimo dito sa HR nila gyapon to train those people na makatrabaho
Yes.
sa imong services?
Yes, sir. They have provided the teams that were placed under my watch since 2010.
So, is it necessary for the city of Malaybalay that after we hire you as a consultant, that we need to get more personnel to help you in this endeavor?
Based on the standards, sir, of consulting work, I will be working closely with the HR so that soft skills are transferred to them, such that when the time comes, I will no longer be needed because the soft skills have already been transferred to those who need to implement these changes and these improvements.
So you're saying, ma'am, that employees that are assigned at the HR department can be trained by yourself. We don't
Yes.
need to hire more personnel for these services.
Technically, sir, no need. Because if you look at the initial structure in 2008 ba yun, sir? 2008 or 2009, the divisions that have been put in place are already sufficient in nature. And that's why it's very important. I'm sure there are other members of the chamber that would like to ask, why are assessment tools necessary to be put together for the reorganization this year, no? Precisely because, like what Ma'am Maggie has said, we are competency-based. Previously, if you look at applicants, if you may allow me to share what happened in the 2009 reorganization, because it was open to everybody, as much as 15, 14, 13 people were applying for one position. And because of that, the need for assessment tools is very, very important because you need to determine the fitness of the candidate that will be chosen among the pool of the other applicants, which means you need to have in place assessment tools that will determine who is the best candidate. And so part of my work is to transfer soft skills to the performance management division and the recruitment and selection division.
Okay. Follow up, Mr. Chair.
Continue.
This competency assessment tool that we will be using in filling up the positions nga kato sa reorganization nato, ma'am, di ba?
Yes po.
This will only apply to those applicants who will be filling up the position. Dili na nato i-assess ang competency sa atong mga existing personnel.
That's a very good question, sir. Because if you remember, when we did the entire process, all positions had to be revisited, including what competencies that position, not the person, sir, but that position is supposed to have. Now, part of the work of the HR office is now to evaluate if this is the person and these are the competencies per position, aha na ang tao. Because this will be now the subject of the training and development plan for that person. Kasi pwedeng tumaas yung competency for that position because of new laws that came out, no? Now, it's incumbent upon HR to make a training and development plan that will make sure that the person occupying the position will now level up in terms of skills through a training and development plan, not necessarily training alone, technical training, but also coaching and mentoring. So para lahat, sir, nag-i-improve, hindi lang for new positions that will be opened.
So meaning to say, your job is really, is very broad because you will be assessing the competency not only of the new applicants but also those existing personnel in the city of Malaybalay. So that is why my first question was, is 4 months enough for that consultancy period? But you answered that it depends on the circumstances if we already have personnel who are properly trained by yourself. May I proceed, Mr. Chair?
Okay, continue.
Earlier, ma'am, Ms. Improgo said that in her opinion, the Human Resource Department really needs your services. Correct me if I'm wrong, that's what I heard? Right? Okay. So, in your own opinion, ma'am, does the Human Resource Department really need your services for the improvement of the competency of the personnel of the city of Malaybalay?
Can I answer that in a different light?
Go ahead.
It always helps to get someone from the outside to take a look at how an organization is operating. Because many times, if you're from inside an organization, your lens is different. You'd like to think that you're doing such a good job. What a consultant does is provide a cloud experience. Because when you're from inside, you're in the weed experience. That's what we use in OD, no? You need sometimes, an organization needs a cloud experience that will help them understand where are the leakages, where are the gaps in terms of performance and in terms of outputs. And that's why more organizations now, whether government and especially in business, if they want to be very competitive in terms of profit, they really hire consultants to see saan pang kulang namin. Because when you're from inside, the tendency is, oh, we're doing a good job. Especially if culturally, the culture of the organization is not implementing metrics in how people work. And metrics is very important because you may think you're doing a good job, but someone who is looking at the standards may not agree with you.
So that is your assessment of our Human Resource Department, that there's really a need, somebody, a cloud, that could provide more support or, more reasonable, services na makatabang yun ng department. That's your, if you have to summarize what you said, that you agree with Ms. Improgo that there is a need to hire a consultant for the HR.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. May I ask Ms. Improgo,
Okay,
Ms.
ma'am.
Chair? Thank you, Ma'am Gamo.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Afternoon.
So, dili gyud nato ma-provide sa karon ang competency assessment sa mga personnel without the help of Ms. Gamo.
Yes, considering the time and the limited resources of people that we have right now sa HR.
So in short, good, there is a need for us to enter into this agreement.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Now, on other topic, Mr. Chair, if I may.
Okay, continue.
Naa naman po si Ma'am Dre. Because I heard some information about job contracting or contractual job orders. Do we have that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and when did it start?
I think last May,
Of
somewhere there.
Of this year?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, so what's the system of this job contract personnel?
They are working only for 12 days and with a rate of 500 pesos.
12 days a month
Yes, sir.
at a rate of 500 per day.
Yes, sir.
So that is 6,000.
6,000 in a month.
And they are, how many are these personnel, ma'am?
Um, around, as of the last, around 300.
300.
Yes, sir.
And they are assigned to different offices,
Yes, sir. Including barangays.
including barangays. Okay. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, ma'am, no? I'm just curious about this because as far as I know, job contracting under the civil service law will only provide for expert services, tulo man to kabuk, kalimut lang ko sa duha. So kining, because there's a difference between job orders and contractual services. Ang job orders man gud is gitawag nato ng murag pakyaw nga
Yes,
pero
yes, sir.
So kining atong gipang-hire nga 300 plus ka buok, they render specific services like what, ma'am?
Yeah, they belong to, in the contract, it's a special emergency employment. A special emergency employment contract.
Lahi po tong sa tupad katong tulong.
Itong regular na to nga contract JO, like we are the regular job order which renders 22 days a
Yes,
month.
yes.
That's different.
Different, no?
Yes, sir.
So the JO that we have right now, do we have a number? Naabot tayo number kung
Around 1,500 plus.
including na kanang mga JO namo, no?
Yeah, all in all.
Okay, so 1,500 plus job orders plus 300 plus contractual personnel. That's roughly 1/8 plus siguro, no?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, all right, 10 days. So, kung 10 days lang, that will be 3 times,
12
Two-
days,
12
3 times
days?
a week.
3 times a week.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so, what else? That's all my questions for now, Mr. Chair. Unya na lang siguro.
Mr. Chair.
So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay,
thank you, ma'am.
Okay, City
Mr. Chair.
Councilor Barabi, you are recognized.
For a while, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much for recognizing. I would like to address my queries, Mr. Chair, to Ma'am Eileen Ortega Gamo.
Okay, continue.
Yes, Mr. Chair. While the sounds and the of the activity there in the session or the August body area is not so clear in our part, Mr. Chair, but I heard a few clear discussions from there, Mr. Chair. May I ask our resource person, Ma'am Eileen, where did you finish your college education?
Sir, from the University of the Philippines, Diliman.
Is it true that you also have your advanced study on organization development certified professional at the Institute of Organization Development at Fort Myers, Florida?
Yes, sir. I had to secure a certification in that area because I've been doing OD for quite a period of time, and I'd like to be certified by a higher body.
Okay, okay. I have heard, is it true that you are the president and CEO of Breta Consulting Corporation?
Yes po.
So you're also, I just want to clear this up because the sounds here coming to us in the Zoom are not that clear, no? Is it also correct that you are the consultant of city government of Taguig?
Yes, sir.
And you're also the consultant of Climate Change Commission?
I was consultant, sir, in the year 2018.
Okay, that's January to December. You are also a consultant of Bethel Baptist Hospital?
I was consultant of Bethel Baptist, and I would do pro bono work for them in the areas of their strategic planning, which is done annually.
Okay. And I also believe that you are also a consultant of the Department of Community Development, School of Community Extension and Industrial Technology, Bukidnon State University. Is this also pro bono?
No, sir. I used to teach when President Barroso was the head of the university. I was teaching in the Department of Community Development.
Okay. And I've heard that you're also a consultant of the Manila International Airport Authority. When was that, ma'am?
That was a long time ago. That was after we left the Civil Aviation Authority, where I was head of the Airport Emergency Preparedness Program. The general manager of NAIA wanted to ask for my help in terms of their own AEPP, which is a standard of the International Civil Aviation Organization, where we will do drills on airport preparedness, sir.
And I've heard also that you was a consultant of World Health Organization, or WHO. What was that, ma'am?
I was involved in their work in Vietnam and Cambodia and also in Manila in the area of social mobilization. That was, if I can recall right, that was in the early 2000, right after I left, after we resigned from the Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines, or ATO. And
What was your transaction with Biyahing Pinoy Productions, ma'am? What was that?
Okay. That's a radio program that we started to promote public safety in aviation and in land and sea travel. So it was basically a radio program that I hosted with Calvin Sadiwa for 2 years to promote safety in travel.
So I also have heard that you stated that you were once the Chief of Staff of Senator Orlando Mercado.
Yes po. From year 2000 to 2008, where Senator Mercado was the chair of the Defense Committee, Health Committee, and several committees. But the primary task that I also performed was overseeing the work of the Defense Committee at the time, which he chaired for, if I'm not mistaken, 6 years.
And you were also a consultant of UNICEF, YWCA, Makati Action Research.
Yes, sir. I was not a consultant, but I was part of the team with UNICEF that did work in Makati for the malnourished children in an urban poor community.
I've seen, ma'am, with your usually you are working with government organizations. Now, my question now is that, as per your assessment as a consultant of the Human Resource Department of the City of Malaybalay, if you will grade the existing human resource system of Malaybalay before your intervention, from 1 to 10 and 10 as the highest, where is Malaybalay when you entered, ma'am, in this consultancy agreement?
Okay, sir, you're asking me to grade. I think I would like to answer it in a different way, if you may allow me. With a specific,
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
with a specific area of work that I'm being asked to come in, and that is in the area of reorganization and assessment tools. I think because, as Ms. Maggie has mentioned, the division that's supposed to perform it and the lack of technical personnel who have been trained in this area, maybe at this point, sir, an honest assessment, they're at a 6. But moving ahead, I think they can always reach 10 when we are able to put in place the systems that will help them get to a 10. And I don't think that will take very long.
Okay. That's all, ma'am. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Salamat, sir. Thank you po.
Yes, Mr. Chair, may I ask some queries to the head of our HR department, Mr. Chair?
Okay, go ahead.
Good afternoon.
Hello, Ma'am Maggie. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ma'am, my only question to you, in your honest opinion, because if you will look at the qualifications and resume and the background of our consultant right now, for me, if you will ask me, 30,000 is too low. May I know from your end, is she worth 30,000 a month or more?
I think higher than 30,000.
Yeah. Where do you think she stands? Well, we are not talking about, because if you look at her qualifications and if you look her expertise, it's really on organizational development. It's really on human resource development, systems analysis, and how you may in our organization. I believe the resource person is more than what is given her. Am I correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Am I correct, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Yes. And in fact, she served Malay-Balay well by having a pro bono number of months working with you. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
I heard it right. You started last July?
Yes, sir, as what Ma'am Eileen said.
This year, July? Oh, no.
2019.
July of last year?
2019 of July.
And she did not receive anything?
No. Wala, sir.
And yes, and this is the first time that she will be receiving with all the... Do you think, ma'am, she helped your office and the city of Malaybalay?
Yes, sir.
I hope you will be honest, ma'am, no? In a scale of 1 to 10, in scale of 1 to 10, and 10 is the highest, what is the effort given and the help you receive from Ma'am Eileen Gamo? How will you gauge it or measure it?
10.
Thank you, ma'am. I believe that you are very honest in your assessment. And Mr. Chair, I would just like to, at this point, I would like to thank our Human Resource Department head for being open and cooperative to our consultant. And most especially, I would like to thank our consultant for giving her free time for Malaybalay City. Her free time for Malaybalay City. And thank you, ma'am. I know 30,000 is not worth with your expertise and with the background that you brought here in the city of Malaybalay. That's all, Mr. Chair. Thank you and good afternoon.
Okay. Thank you also, City Councilor Marabe. Okay, any other query? City Councilor Tortola, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much, Ma'am Eileen Gamo and Ma'am Maggie Improgo for answering the call which of the Sangguniang Panlungsod, which give us some enlightenment. But I have a little concern, Mr. Chair. This is with regards to the new approved ordinance with regards to the reorganization, which is, I think, not fully implemented for this year. I know it might be implemented by 2020, but there are some concern with regards to the present situation we have now. pandemic, plus the Mandanas ruling, which we are expecting to have an increased budget, and also some changes on the staffing pattern, I suppose that this should be. Now, my question, Ma'am Eileen, because there are some conflicting structures with regards to the devolution transition, which we are now working it out with the technical working group. We observe that some positions set up are not already applicable to this upcoming setup, which require the full devolution of certain function. So how can we remarry this ordinance with the devolution?
Thank you, sir, for that question. I believe nothing precludes the council to submit, together, of course, with the local chief executive, the positions that will be affected because of the Bandanas ruling. But I think if I remember right, with the list that Ma'am Maggie has given me, the positions that are being opened initially are not the ones that will be affected by the Mandanas ruling. I think part of what the HR and the mayor's office also are looking into is to prioritize only positions that will not have any bearing in the future should the Mandanas rule be implemented, no? Ibig sabihin, sir, positions that will not be affected by that, such as yung CDR, yung positions, existing positions already, for example, in the mayor's office, that will not have any bearing on that particular law. But you're correct. I think there will be future work not only for the local chief executive but also for the SP in terms of amending certain departments' structure to absorb what the Mandanas law will be, how do you say it, as a result of the Mandanas law on existing structures already of organizations.
Thank you for that, ma'am. Maybe one of these days, the technical working group of the devolution transition committee will
Yes,
just
sir.
invite you, so we can
Sige po.
settle it out. Thank you for that, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Then another question, Mr. Chair, because I just computed what I've heard from Ma'am Maggie with regards to the GO.
Sir,
We have 1,500 more or less.
yeah, more or less.
So if we will compute that with the financing, the budget for the job orders, I have computed it that we are expending for the GOs alone for 1 year is 198 million. 198 million. And we add that another this contract GO, which is 300 more or less. For 8 months, we will be spending 14,400,000. I think we have huge expenditure with regards to handling these employment job orders. That's why I'm thinking, I suppose Ma'am Eileen can help it out. I have already initially whispered to our chairman on Committee of Civil Service that why should not we institutionalize the salary of our GOs? Because they are different functions. We have GOs which have skilled, but balance na tanan 500. So unfair sa uban. Ang uban ganin makita nimo way trabaho, galingkod-lingkod lang sa opisina. So maybe this is the right time that we will cap up an ordinance to institutionalize the salary of our job orders. I hope Ma'am Eileen can to have this program structure with regards to the salary grading of the GOs.
Okay, any
Yes, sir.
response, Ma'am Eileen?
Actually, sir, there are those job orders performing technical and professional functions, positions that are differently paid. They are not just 500, they are equivalent to the positions that they are handling or working on. So, naatay mga job order nga, higher ang ila, depende sa how technical their work is in the other offices.
Do we have a basis for that on granting
Yeah.
their salaries?
We have the Joint Memorandum Circular for the job or DBM Joint Memorandum Circular that we are allowed, that we can have the salary of the job order comparable to the position that they are.
Because how much are we paying with our GO nurses at the health?
Yeah, salary grade 15. Equivalent to salary nurse 1.
How much is that?
Around 33 if I'm... Hindi na ako
30
somewhere
per
there.
month?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, salary grade 15.
Yes, sir.
So, I hope we can settle it
Yes,
out.
sir. Take
Thank you. That's all.
Okay, thank you, City Councilor Tortula. Any other query from the members? Especially online members?
Mr. Chair,
Okay, City
may I
Councilor.
be recognized?
Yes, you are recognized. City Councilor Dinlayan, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon to our distinguished colleagues, likewise with our resource person. I would like to ask first, Mr. Chair, to Ma'am Eileen Gamo. May hapon, ma'am. My first question is, how many years you have served the city of Malaybalay, ma'am, being a consultant?
I think the first one was in 2005, 2005 up to 2010, and then I was asked by the mayor to help him again when he started a new term in July of 2019 po.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You have already served for a long period of time. Follow-up question, Mr. Chair.
Continue.
During that period of time, ma'am, have we considered that we will hire or train any available employee in the HR office as competent, able, and willing with your special skill, ma'am? In other words, nag-train na ba ta nga pareha sa imong skill, ma'am, matudluan ang atong mga empleyado?
During that time, sir, it was not only HR because there is a misconception that the function of training employees rests only on HR. But the reality is the direct supervisor and the head of the department are supposed to be one of the coaches and mentors of the personnel under them. What HR technically is required to do, and this was the subject of the work that we've done during the reorganization, even in 2005, I think Councilor Monsanto, sir, you were asking about competency kanina. Okay, if you recall, during the time, sorry sir, during the time, I worked with all the departments. We crafted what specific competencies each position is supposed to have. So this talk about competency did not only start now, but it had its humble beginnings even in 2005, 2006. Because, for example, if you talk about a driver position, people think that you have a license, then you're already a good driver. On the contrary, that is not true. If you are a good driver, what would be a benchmark standard in terms of competencies? During that time, a part of one of the competencies of the driver is basic troubleshooting and maintenance. Kasi kung ikaw ang nagde-drive, tapos tumirek, there are certain basic skills na marunong kang mag-troubleshoot, And another, if you look back at the old manual of positions, a driver is supposed to be skilled in CPR, basic life support and CPR. And during that time, all drivers were actually trained in basic life support and CPR. Why? Kasi kung yung pinagdadrive nila biglang ma-heart attack, malayo ang ospital, sila yung pinaka-source ng immediate response. Their specific skill on BLS, basic life support, and CPR will probably extend the life of their passengers. Which means, at that time, we transferred certain skills already in doing the training and development plan. I cannot answer for the in-between years, but I can only answer, sir, for the years that I was here. What happened after is something I'm not under any to explain, sir.
Well, anyway, ma'am, thank you very much. Last question, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Do we have a standard guidelines coming from the national office before we can hire a consultant like you, ma'am, with your indulgence? Do we have a criteria or requirements?
I'm really not aware of the criteria, Your Honor. But I think the...
Well, anyway, ma'am, I will ask another question to you, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am Maggie, mayong hapon.
Afternoon.
First question, ma'am, in relation to the query asked by Honorable Sanggalang, the hiring of job orders. Do we follow any legal guidelines, ma'am, before we can hire those job orders? Kaya I think tagpila lang sila kabulan when in fact our national government is not encouraging even the endo or the 6 months. Apa tayo sundo na nga guidelines, ma'am?
Yeah, we have for the summer special employment, emergency employment services, sir, 6 months.
Ang GO yang ko, no? Yang ipasabot.
For the job
GO.
order. For the job order, what is in the circular is 6 months and only, but it can be if renewed when there is a need or urgent need for the job orders.
For instance, ma'am, what is that urgent need? What do you mean by that?
Like the office lacks personnel to do a particular task, and the function of the office will be hampered when there is no person who will do that particular task.
Meaning to say, atong ipang-hire, sila, mga kinahanglanon yun para
Yes,
sa atong siyudad
sir.
sa Malaybalay.
Yes,
Aside
sir.
from that, ma'am, kanang ipang-hire na to, tanan ba na taga Malaybalay o na ay dili taga Malaybalay?
Based on the PDS, they're all from Malaybalay, different barangays and other national offices which we catered.
Okay, thank you kay ma'am. Kaya I'm asking that question considering that we are still on the pandemic and our people really needs a work to feed their family. Another question, Mr. Chair. What is really the nature of work sa atong mga job orders wherein ang source is coming from the Sangguniang Panlungsod or with the Vice Mayor?
For the job orders that belongs to the legislative, the nature of the work of the job order is probably helping the councilors in their different programs to the barangays and to the... I think that's all. I mean, that is what is the nature of the work of the job orders. I cannot really particular say, sir, because no, I have not seen the accomplishment reports of the JOs under the SP. No, so I cannot fully say, but in my own opinion, the nature of work of the job orders under the legislative will go along that way.
So meaning to say, ma'am, ang kaning mga job orders gikan sa Sangguniang Panlungsod, pwede ra ang mga konsihal yun maka-recommend kay naa siya trust and confidence. Is that, will you confirm for that, ma'am?
Yes, sir. I think that is what is the process. I mean, the councilor request for the job orders under them.
We will take your word from that, ma'am. But that is not what really is happening. Anyway, Mr. Chair, nag-hire man tamang ba og mga forest rangers na renew ba to sila?
The last time we had a contract was in July. But they are for 6 months, so one July to December, January to June.
To cut you short, ma'am, nanga-renew to sila together with anang bag-o nga mga GO.
They have a different task, man. They belong sa Senro. And it's the Senro officer who requested that.
I hope ma-confirm siya, ma'am. Considering we are hiring new job orders, why not rehire them considering that their work is very essential, especially in protecting our nature? Mr. Chair, for now, no further questions, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you,
Sir.
City Councilor Dinlayan. Any other member would like to ask our guest from the online? Wala naman siguro. So, City Councilor Monsanto, you are again recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ma'am, thank you for that information relayed to us for Ma'am Gamo. Ma'am, thank you very much. This is just one follow-up questions, Ma'am. No? Your presentation about the job competencies assessment. Yes. So this is really one of the things that you are going to introduce if this is not yet being practiced here in the LGU of Malaybalay. So, but if there will be somebody assigned now in the HR, ma'am, to perform these functions. Now, still, ang recommendations niya would still be subjected to the chief executive who will sign the appointment of that person.
If I can just walk you through briefly, sir, the instruction of the local chief executive is apply the assessment tools, which was the same policy then in 2008 to 2010, before 2010, to use assessment tools in evaluating the fitness and merit of a candidate for a specific open position. If I can expound, sir, yung assessment tools will not only be in exam form, but the assessment tool is also during the interview. Depending on the position, sir, na a-applyan, if for example, you are applying for a position that is supervisorial in nature, you are not going to be asked only in the exam and in the interview questions pertinent to the technical competence, but questions that will reveal your fitness as a supervisor.
Okay.
So, ano yun, sir? It's a compendium of assessment tools for all positions that will be opened that will help the personnel selection board in their evaluation of candidates for every position.
Okay. That will only be a tool to be used by the persons, the committee who will choose who among the applicants is concerned. But that would still be, I believe, the subject of the assessment coming from the local chief executive. Who
Yes,
will
sir.
approve?
Ang requirement po ni Mayor in a meeting that I was able to attend is that just like before, all the candidates, for example, sir, nag-apply for a project development officer salary grade 15. Kung ano yung grade niya sa exams, computed with the percentage that is being given for exam, interview, document review, the mayor wants to see kung may 11 candidates, gusto niya makita yung score ng 11 from the top to the bottom. Second, siguro it's good to be able to share this to the committee. Part of my work is also to help the HR. Ano yung sistema na gagamitin? For example, there will be exams. What we have implemented before, as I've recommended, and the mayor accepted it also now, even with the exams, when the placement, not placement, but the personal selection board, pag nag-correct po sila ng exam, they will not know who took the exam. Tatakpan yun, sir, yung pangalan, and that paper will only be known as a number. Why? Because just like any small town, magkakamag-anak, magkakaibigan, to insulate the personal selection board from bias, hindi sasabihin kung sino yung nag-a-apply para talagang di ba sir, yung fairness, equity is really exercised, no?
I hope that would be applied 100% to the LGU, ma'am.
That is our prayer, sir.
Yeah, because as far as the private sector is concerned, I believe that would be a good tool. But as far as the LGU is concerned, let's face reality. There are other requirements that has to be complied with the applicant. Siguro kung mama remember na ito nang gina-discuss karon sa Senate, the MBA, no? Not Masters in Business Administration, but may backer ako. Yan. Those are some of the things, ma'am, that we have to consider. Anyway, thank you very much, ma'am, sa mong time now. One more question, Mr. Chair, to Ma'am Maggie Improgo.
Yes, sir.
Yes, my attention was called to the question being raised by Honorable Sanggalang regarding that contractual, or how would you consider that? That is not, they are not job orders, but a contractual
Under the emergency employment services.
So, they are separate from the job order employees we have.
Yes, sir.
How do we call them, ma'am? Emergency
Employment, Special Emergency Employment Program.
Special
SEP.
Special Emergency Employment Program, and that is allowed, especially if there are emergencies or there are circumstances that their services has to be hired, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
But I do not see the rationale. If they are really an emergency employee, why are they being paid only for 12 days?
Yeah, because according to the mayor, we are already moving towards the fund utilization, which we can no longer accommodate for regular job order.
So how would we qualify them? They are not job orders, but special emergency employees. Are they
Yes,
not?
sir.
Yeah, are they not entitled to all the privileges, like the PhilHealth, the what do we call that, or other privileges?
Yes, sir. Wala.
They are not.
Yes, sir.
What if there will be some, God forbid, what if there will be some emergencies happen to that particular person? Maligsan, simbako, maunsa ba? What will happen to them? What is our liability sa city?
Just like before, sir, wala actually. Even sa job order,
Yes, oh.
yeah, what we do, we ask help from our cooperative and our local, government employees association, and we pass the hat.
Kaya sa atong mga job orders, ma'am, nanamay lang mga SSS, no? Although they are
Yes,
the one
sir.
paying for that. So at least,
PhilHealth.
so at least doon na insurance sa ilahang pagtrabaho, no?
Yes, sir.
Kini manggong special employees contract nga atong gi-hire, mo na ginatanong, what if kung masakit sila, wala gyud, ila-ila na.
Yes, sir.
Oh, daw be okay lang kung ingon na ng sakit. What if kay emergency ba ya? in the performance of their duty na ay matakong yung God forbid na ay makalas umamatay, do the city has the liability because we have a contract with them? Nabaka tayo liability, anak ma?
I don't think so, sir. But we will just look into what we can do on that matter
Yes.
to help our emergency workers.
Yes, okay.
Okay, I think this is also the first time that
Yeah.
we have this.
Yes, so I know, I believe the legal office can best answer that question, ma'am, no? Kung tingali kung
Yes,
sa mga
okay.
point ni anak
We
kay.
will bring this matter
Yes,
to
ma'am.
him.
Thank you very much. Kaya dili na ito makita magud ang rationale, anak, ma'am, no? We are hiring them in an emergency, pero 12 days ra, no? And then, ug na ay mga mahitabuon niya, wadi ta kay balukon sa liability nato sa city being the employer. Kay whether we like it or not, na may contract, ato ginang responsibility, no? So,
Yes, sir.
so as of the moment, we have 300.
More or less, plus.
300. Pero the possibility is kinang 300 karon, posible nga dili na pud lain na pud nga 300 ang musunod after the contract. Dili sila ma-continue ng mga 300 karon.
Possibly.
Possibly, ma'am. Okay.
It depends sa
Per month
pilot.
na sila, ma'am? Ang ilang
Yeah.
contract?
5 months, 6 months
6
contract,
months,
yes.
okay. Now, who will may continue, Mr. Chair. Who will determine kinsa ang atong hiron? Is that your office?
No, sir.
No. It will be addressed to the local chief executive, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
So naa sa iya ang discretion.
Yes, sir.
So meaning to say, ang funding ana must also come from the office of the city mayor.
It's in the MOOE in
In the
Jan,
MOA.
yes, sir.
Do we have any justification to that, ma'am? If you know lang.
And I think the budget officer, this was referred to the budget officer and she approves that it
Okay.
can be.
Ang maabot na lang sa inyo ang mga names na lang o mga contract nila, ma'am. Mo na lang moabot sa inyong office.
No, the applications of those who are approved to join out to have a contract with us.
Okay, mo na lang to moabot sa inyo. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and that's all.
Okay, thank
Ma'am,
you.
thank you, ma'am.
Any other? City Councilor Barroso, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Earlier, some members of this chamber inquired about the qualifications of our consultant. But what I will say today is something personal, not on her qualifications. Our consultant is a Lumad, Mr. Chair. She is a Lumad, being a granddaughter of the first constitutional delegate in the 1935 Constitution, in the person of Attorney Pedro D. Melendez. So she has a blood of Lumad. She is one of us. And I would say that her aunt was an assemblyman woman during the time of Cory Aquino, Mr. Chair. And her father was the senior vice president of the Philippine Airlines. That's why she can freely travel from Manila to here, free from the PAL. So that is our consultant, Mr. Chair. She is one of us, true-blooded, Bukidnon, true-blooded, from Malaybalay. And we're glad that she has finally decided with her family to stay put here in Malaybalay, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you also. Any other follow-up query from the members? City Councilor Tortola?
First of all, I would like to extend some gratitude for my cousin, our guest is also my cousin, Mr. Chair. So, thank you very much for helping Malay-Balay. So, I have some concern, Mr. Chair, because my attention has been touched by the question of Honorable Dinlayan. I would just like to give some comparison because my 33 years experience in the private sector and now I'm a public servant, there is really some, I don't know how to say it, but layo-rayo kayo ang, siguro ang government side will look into that on how to handle people. Mamagi, I would just like to ask, kay ang amo manggod sa kuan is, do you have job rotation? Kay katong iyang once an employee is absent to is handling a job, then gakahamper ang atong services. Moto iyang gisulti ni Honorable Dinlayan. So I think, do we have some job rotation in our organization?
Yes, sir. In our office, we implemented that job rotation. And during the MANCOM, I also advised department heads to do so to avoid monotony and to improve the capacity of the workers to know other functions. But it is limited to functions which are highly technical. And so for those that can be performed easily by other employees, then we do. And with regards to my office, wherein I said earlier that we have a vacant position, which is a division head, which is in charge for this program, I actually assigned the section head to double up to monitor the function of the division head.
Because one of the purpose of the job rotation is multi-skilling of
Yes,
its
sir.
personnel.
Yes, sir.
So we can multi-scale that once there is absent on any office, anybody can handle.
Yes, we do.
Then including handling of higher position. But based on the labor law, we just limit it on 4 months because if we exceed on the 4 months, that's granting that he is already in that position. Mag-violate siya sa kuan. So maybe
Yes, sir.
just to assign that, to see to it that kung worth to siya di, on future references, pwede to siya makonsider. Muna'y gatanaw na to ba? Then, I don't think wala ganita mag-observe siguro in our organization sa private. Gakatingala lang mi kay lain mo abot sa amo, then leave me o unleave ka karong adlaw. Then somebody will work on my position. Dili na gani ko maka-turn over kay iko lang ko mo observe kung unsa iyang kwan. Just to check and balance or check the work I have. Kay na may sensitive man sad ang mga position uban sa espesyal sa bangko. So naay time nga kalit lang mi ipalib nga diretso. Supposed to be in the government dunay mga sensitive position diha nga pwede nato ipa-on-leave diretso to check his work. May unta nang mahimo sad nato.
Well, we look into that, sir. The possibility of having that.
Especially ning atong field collectors. Daghan kay na sila diha. Then we cannot really check their work in the field. So nauntay maka-check ana nga nailain mo trabaho immediately, di siya pabayahon karon, lain ang magbiyahe. So on the same area para mahibalaan kung he is really working properly or efficiently. I hope we should that's the comparison I had with the private and the public. I hope we can have
Okay,
that one.
yes, sir. Taken.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's all.
Okay, thank you, City Councilor Tortola. Any other follow-up question from the online members? Online? Wala na? From the floor? Wala na? Okay, from the chair, ma'am, I'd like to follow-up query. To Ma'am Gamo, the consultancy contract is purely with respect to the human resource services sa Malaybalay. You mentioned a while ago that geographic information system was included, but when I read the contract, wala man diri.
Okay. Bali, sir, when sa 2005, I helped set it up. Ngayon, I am also, while it's not here, part of what I do is I mentor sila Engineer Dadang on
So you mean to say, even if it was not part of the contract, you still do the legwork sa GIS na to?
in terms of mentoring on new areas of improvement for GIS, for the information systems.
Yes, I understand. So even though it was not specifically provided in the contract agreement, you still do the
Yes, sir.
the services with respect to the GIS for the reason that from your past contract, it was part of your consultancy.
And ano rin, sir, kasi di ba, I'm still doing that in other areas, and there are many improvements na, sir.
So which is which now? You will concentrate your time to the consultancy as with respect to the human resource activities or sa GIS ka?
This is the focus, sir.
This is the focus.
Add-on lang yun, sir.
Ang GIS. Okay. Now, I observed that the contract or the resolution coming from the Bids and Awards Committee, it did not went into the regular bidding process because it is part of the exemption, which is highly technical. So wala nailain ani na wala ni gi-open up sa PhilJeps that the city government will hire a consultant, correct? So you were directly negotiated.
I think, I don't know the technical term, sir, but that's part of
The process.
the yes.
Because we have here resolution number 2021-425 that this is part of the negotiated procurement because it is highly technical or proprietary and primarily confidential or policy determining. So with respect to primarily confidential or policy determining, we cannot question about that because it is part of the privileges of the local chief executive na kinsay ang i-trust. But with respect to the highly technical or proprietary, my query is that who will accredit consultancy experience? Like for example, Breta Consulting Corporation, it is an established corporation. Do we have a setup in our country that this particular consultancy is really accredited? Like engineers, like the construction side, they have the PICAB, the Philippine Construction Adjudication, something like that. Do we have an organization in our country that accredits the consultancy activity?
Right now, sir, wala pa because it's a very young industry, unlike engineering and all of that. That's why, if you notice with the question also of Councilor Marabe, that's why I secured a certification from abroad.
Yes.
Because I wanted to make sure if my skill set is standard with global standards for OD and HR consulting.
So for the record, in our country, wala pa tayo ingana.
Wala pa, sir, because it's a very young industry.
So wala tayo standard, so to speak. Na,
Parang it's not really a standard, but usually it's best practice. For example, if a certain organization is, I thought to, sir, very good example. Yung ginawa po sa Malaybalay, which is not only the GIS, but the reorganization, the transaction tracking system, it's a best practice, sir. And one of the, I think the proof of the pudding is Malaybalay winning the Galing Pook, no? That's one. When Senator Cayetano at the time heard about what's being done in Malaybalay, he came to see me because that is the best practice. So parang ang nangyayari, because there is no accreditation, because I think it's very hard to accredit this kind of process.
yes. For the record, sa Pilipinas, wala pa.
Wala pa, sir.
Wala pa ta. So wala pa bunisiyay ka ng mga exams regulation coming from the government?
Wala, sir.
Wala siya.
Wala.
So walay organization na kuan na
There is an organization of OD practitioners.
Kamo, namoy
But
nyo.
yes, but that's not regulatory.
Okay.
It's more of a support system on certain practices that will improve the practice of OD.
Then dili po ka member sa organization sa kanang mga human resource personnel because I remember I think they have an organization.
Meron yan, sir. Meron pa nga yung PMAP.
Oh yes, yes.
But that is not for consultants, but that's for practicing HR inside the organization.
Just like Ma'am Maggie.
Yes.
So
yes,
you
sir.
are a member of that organization, ma'am.
Yung sa government, no?
Okay. Okay, okay. Okay. So that's all, ma'am. With respect to Ma'am Maggie, just for the benefit of the viewers or constituents, so there is a difference between the job orders as we have today and this new job contracting, which is, you said, a special emergency employment, correct?
Yes, sir.
So is this part of your initiative that we will have a job contracting or special emergency employment? So this is not part of your advice. This is as if lahi ni siya. So what was the legal basis animum kaning special emergency employment?
For the legal basis, we only used, sir, katura gihapon sa JMC nga circular, sa Joint Memorandum Circular sa DBM and CSC, that we are allowed to hire
So
emergency employees.
you also mentioned that the funds coming from this special emergency employment employee is from the MOE, correct?
Yes, sir.
So in computing the 45% limit, dili siya ma-appeal.
Wala pa, sir, dili. Kay MOE man siya, di man siya PS.
Then as far as you know, are you familiar with their contract? Sa ilang provision ani, silang guidelines. When a certain person will agree that he works only in Malaybalay as a special emergency employment, can you recall the content of the contract? Being our human resource head.
It goes like this contract is entered into in between, then it will only be for a period of 12 days with the salary, and it will cease until the expiration of the contract.
Aside from the particular of the amount and the days, how about the job description itself? Na unsa may imong buhaton? Like for example, you mentioned na 3 times a week ra sila. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday or MWF, then what will be their job? Unsa gid lang
It is
specific?
already delegated to the heads, the offices where they are assigned
So you mean to say
assign.
you are not familiar with their job description? Kung maka-hire kaning 300, wala kay idea just to give an
Yes,
an
sir.
iota of scenario na nag-hire ta og isa ka o 300 ka job contracting. Unsa gid ang ilang trabaho?
Not particularly on the basic or the details,
So,
basta they are just
gihire
assigned.
gyud sila?
Yes, sir. They are assigned to
So
specific offices.
for almost nag-start ni July pa.
May, I
May,
think that
so
was
May, July,
June.
August. So
Yes,
we
sir.
are on the 4th month.
Yes, sir.
Have you visited actual offices to determine how are they doing their job? Nakasuroy yung ka o imo gining na ocular inspection ang mga job contracting dito sa different barangays?
Not yet. But for within the city, it's not that I have ocular, but I have called or communicated with the heads of the offices.
So within the city government natay job contracting.
Yes, we have a few.
I thought it was only sa mga barangay gi-assign.
No, we have.
So
in
we
our
have a certain
offices.
officer in Malaybalay na like for example sa iyong office
Yes,
na mo'y
sir.
so kung atong levelize ang ato ang mga employee, the highest employee is the regular employees,
Yes, sir.
then the casual,
Yes, sir.
then GO, job order, then we have another entity now, the job contracting.
Yes, sir.
So muna na ang real scenario sa Malaybalay.
Yes,
Regular
sir.
employee, casual employee, job order, and the new
And the coterminous plus for the other.
coterminous or elected official or basta ang bag-o karon is job contracting.
Yes, sir.
Mas ubos ni sila sa GO kung buto no naon.
In terms of the number of days but they have more or less the same rate.
Okay. Then aside as I observed sa pangutanan ni City Councilor Monsanto kung unsay mahitabo sa ilaha, did you provide a waiver sa ilaha na part of the contract na anything happens to you, mabunalan na imong tilde o martilyo, milabot?
Yes.
Part ba na sa ilaha dito? Nabay waiver, ana?
We actually
Wala.
do not have the waiver.
Okay.
Okay, that's why I said I will refer that to our legal officer if we can have.
Okay. So wala pa, so it might or...
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's all on my part, ma'am. So I think there are no other query. So on behalf sa Sangguniang Panlungsod Malaybalay, we'd like to thank Ma'am Eileen Ortega Gamo and Ma'am Maggie Improgo for having your time here, almost 1 hour plus. Thank you for your cooperation. Okay, part of our job. Okay, thank you. So recess 1 minute. City Councilor Monsanto, you recognize.
Mr. Chair, I move to lift the suspension of the House rules, Mr. Chair.
In a second, any more discussion, any objection? The chair stands to the motion of City Councilor Monsanto to lift the suspension of the House rules is approved. City Councilor Sanggalang, you recognize.
I believe, Mr. Chair, that the chairman of the civil service, right, should make a manifestation to pass a resolution authorizing our city mayor to enter into that contract.
Other matters.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, continue, Madam Secretary. Item number 10.
Your Honors, first reading and referral of proposed measures and other communications. Item number 1 is a second endorsement dated August 31, 2021 of the Honorable City Mayor Florencio T. Flores Jr., endorsing to the Sangguniang Panlungsod members the Memorandum of Agreement between the City Government of Malaybalay and the Department of Agriculture, Regional Field Office 10 relative to the corn seed assistance of 50 bags Highland corn seeds, GMO, Your Honors.
Okay, to the Committee on Agriculture and Agrarian Reform.
Second item, Your Honors, under communications is another endorsement dated September 3, 2021 of the Honorable City Mayor Florencio T. Flores Jr., endorsing to the Sangguniang Panlungsod members the contract and agreement with Mafil Builders Incorporated for the project construction of a one-story, two-classroom school building at Mabuhay Elementary School, Your Honors, worth 3,167,551.59, Your Honors.
Okay, to the Committee on Engineering and Public Works.
Nothing follows, Your Honor.
Any motion? City Councilor Monsanto, being the chairman on the Committee on Rules.
Yes, Mr. Chair. I move, Mr. Chair, that those referral, proposed measures and other communications be considered to have passed the first reading, Mr. Chair.
In a second, any more discussion? Any objection? The chair stands to the motion of City Councilor Monsanto is approved. Next item, 11, committee reports.
One committee report, Your Honors, from the Committee on Finance, Bank Accounts, and Appropriations relative to the approval of the supplemental budget number 1 of Barangays Mapolo and Kulaman, Your Honors.
Okay, City Councilor Tortola, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In behalf of the Committee on Finance, Banking, Accounts, and Appropriation, we would like to render our committee report. This is in line with the current year 2021 supplemental budget number 1 of Barangay Kulaman and Barangay Mapolo requesting for legislative authorization. The committee reviewed and discussed the different proposed supplemental budget of the two barangays mentioned and ascertained that the different supplemental budgets being prepared in accordance with the budgetary requirements are certified true and correct by the local finance committee. With that, the committee would propose to pass a resolution for legislative approval of the same. I move for the adoption of my committee report, Mr. Chair.
In a second, discussion, amendments, discussion from the online members. Naputol man siguro. Naputol, Dave? Wala? Online members, give you time.
None, Mr. Chair.
None.
None, Mr. Chair.
On the floor, none. Amendments, objection, the chair stands to the motion of City Councilor Tortola is approved. Any recommendation?
Recommendation, Mr. Chair, because this pertains to an urgent request, Mr. Chair, I move to suspend the 3 reading rule of our internal rules of procedure, Mr. Chair.
Okay, in a second. Any more discussion? Any objection? The chair stands on the motion of City Councilor Tortola to forgo the 3 reading rule is approved. Okay, continue.
Thank you, Mr.
City
Chair.
Councilor.
With that, I move to pass an urgent resolution for legislative approval of the supplemental budget of Barangay Kulaman and Barangay Mapolo. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Okay, it has been moved seconded to pass an urgent resolution with respect to the supplemental budget of Barangays Mapolo and Kulaman. Any more discussion? Any amendments, objection? The chair is done. So the motion of City Councilor Tortola is approved. Since this is on a third reading, those in favor, say, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Against, none? None, wala. Unanimously approved.
Thank you. That's all, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Then, Madam Secretary, calendar of business.
Your honors, for business of the day, for third reading is a proposed ordinance, an ordinance approving educational assistance and subsidies to deserving students enrolled in tertiary education courses in recognized educational institutions in the city of Malaybalay, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, your honors.
Okay, since this is on the third reading, nominal voting is required. Those who are in favor for the passage on the third reading of the said ordinance, raise your right hand or say aye.
Aye.
Unanimously approved. Then from the chair, very good report to. Kung tanaw ninyo sa attachment, nana dito ang mga amendments which is the standard of having an amendment na yellow na makita nimo dito ang katong mga concern through the discussions last week. So nariri kung katong mga gipang propose na gid, so kudos to City Councilor Barroso. A very good ordinance, especially the presentation. Okay, let's continue. Other matters? City Councilor Barroso, you are recognized. Will, isara na imo. Isara.
Thank you again, Mr. Chair and other my colleagues. If we recall last session, I presented this for approval, this resolution of the contract agreement between the city of Malaybalay and Miss Eileen Gamo. But on the request of our colleagues, it was deferred because we wanted to ask some more clarifications about these consultancy services. And this afternoon, our resource persons were here, and I think they have satisfactorily answered all our queries and information that we needed. And so with this, Mr. Chair, may I be allowed to pass again, to reiterate my proposal that we pass a resolution granting authority to the Honorable Mayor Florencio T. Flores approving the contract and agreement consultancy service between the city government of Malaybalay and Miss Eileen Ortega Gamo. So move, Your Honor.
In a second, seconded that we pass the consultancy agreement as mentioned by the reporting chairman. Any more discussion? Any amendments? Any objection? The chair is none. So the motion of City Councilor Barroso is approved. Any recommendation?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move to recommend that we suspend the three-reading rule.
Suspended ba? Still suspended.
Still suspended, Mr. Therefore, I move that I pass the resolution, an urgent resolution granting authority to the Honorable Mayor Florencio T. Flores to approve the consultancy contract between the city government of Malaybalay and Miss Eileen Ortega Gamo. So move, Your Honor.
In a second, any more discussion? Any amendments? Any objection? The chair is done. So the motion of City Councilor Barroso is approved. Since this is on third reading, those are in favor, raise your right hand. Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Unanimously approved.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you also, City Councilor Barroso. This time, the chair recognizes City Councilor Tortola. To committee report. Okay, continue.
Actually, this was been referred to the committee of Suning, and that this was referred back to the committee on finance, banking, accounts, provision. This is with regards to the second endorsement letter coming from the city mayor with regards to the
appraisal conducted by the Committee on Appraisal with regards to two properties. The property of a certain Job Kadungog, which is located at Natidasan, Barangay Kasisang, Malaybalay City. And also of the property owned by a certain Arturo Calyao, which has two parcels of land. Same location, adjacent lots. And with two different resolution. One resolution for Job Kadungog with the price offer of 250 per square meter for a total amount of 7,764,250 for the area of 31,057 square meters. And for the lot of Mr. Arturo Calyao, it is two parcel of land for a value of 212 per square meters in the amount of 5,460,696 with a total land area of 25,758 square meters. This was been referred to the Committee on Human Settlement, Zoning, and Land Use and referred back to the Secretariat that it would be taken, suggested that it will be taken by the Committee on Finance, Banking, Accounts and Appropriation. That's why I am rendering this report because, as you know, Mr. Chair, I move for the adoption of my committee report, Mr. Chair.
Okay, in a second. Any more discussion?
Discussion, Mr. Chair.
Okay, continue.
This has been a long time, I think it's struggle of the city to acquire the property because the site, the location has already been approved by the National Meat Inspection System, and that also the safety area also approved by the DNR, the DOH. I think I'm not yet on this council. Before 2013, this has been already discussed by the previous administration. And until now, that it has been finalized. One of the factors that caused delayed, naa naman unta to atong miagi, pero namatay man gud ang owner yun. So, another process. So, that take times. Until such time nga karon na kuha na gyud siya, na trabaho na, then nahimo na gyud nga mapalit nato ang lote. And I myself, Mr. Chair, conducted a survey with regards to the location. Actually, the Kadungog property is 300 meters from the provincial government housing settlement and the jail, 300 meters. Then the Calyao property is 530 meters. The Kadungog property from Salang subdivision is 1.7 kilometers and the Calyao is 2 kilometers. The Gawad Kalinga, from Gawad Kalinga, the distance is 1.5 kilometers and 1.9 kilometers on Calyaw. Sa market, coming from our market, muging landmark nato, sa Kadungog is 2.9 kilometers and sa Calyaw 3.9 kilometers. And I have asked for the evaluation, Mr. Chair. Accordingly, sa atong assessor's office, they have valued the unit value of 1,300 per square meter. Karon, ang BIR nga sunal is 2,100 kaning mga property nga naa diha sa kanidayang property kaning mga neighborhood kan mumay akong gibasihan. Ang provincial government housing settlement ug ang jail 1,300 per square meter. Ang BIR sunal is 2,100. Then ay proposal nga bag-o nga nag-objekta sa BIR, ang sunal nila is 3,000 per square meter. Sa Salang subdivision, ang ilang unit value diha is 1,300 per square meter. Ang BIR sunal 2,100, the same as katong provincial government housing settlement. Ang proposal sa BIR karon nga bago is 3,000. The same sa Gawad Kalinga. Ang atong public market gani karon, Mr. Chair, kay in connection to kuan man gani kaning slaughterhouse nato is connection with public market. Ang atong public market ang unit value karon da is 4,600 per square meter. Pero ang BIR sunal nato is 6,000 per square meter. Ang ilang proposed valuation karon sa BIR is 11,000 per square meter. Kani increase na gyud ang atong value sa atong property sa syudad sa Malaybalay. Pero in the course of the study of our appraisal committee na aman to ilang gi-attach sa ilang resolution nga sa ilang kuan ang ilang nga kuan ani 2017 pa manggod ni ang ilang gibasihan is ang mga private like di Manaran, di Carbajal, and di Marabi. Sa mga price diha sa 2017 sa Manaran is 169.99 per square meter. Ang Carbajal is 300 per square meter. And then ang Marabi sa 2015 ang ilang area dito is 775 per square meter. So very low considering that ang price offer is 250 per square meter sa Kadungog and 212 sa property ni Calyaw is still justifiable, Mr. Chair. For that, Mr. Chair, I would take this opportunity to also recommend what was been the findings and the recommendation of the appraisal committee, Mr. Chair.
Okay, any more discussion from the members? None? From the chair, I observed that two parcels of land, these two parcels of land from the Kadungog property and Calyaw property, are these two parcels adjacent or separate yun sa man eh?
Adjacent, Mr. Chair. We cannot, we first should buy the property of Mr. Kadungog, Mr. Chair.
Dili. What I mean, ang property ni Kadungog, kaning two parcels of land,
Two parcels of land.
3,000 plus square meters and 27,000 square meters, adjacent ning duha.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Apil tong kang Mr. Calyaw.
Yes, Mr.
Adjacent
Chair.
to siya.
Adjacent na yapon.
Wa man gibutang diri oh.
Kay gani
bulag ni
pa
ba?
man, Mr. Chair. Gani pa man kung itan-aw nimo tong sketch plan, abay ra gyud na silang upat. Then ang property ni
Abay, you mean to say ang Calyaw ug ang Kadungog?
Oo. Kay ang road right of way man gud nato paingon sa
So,
Calyaw, we will be using the property of Kadungog.
So, abay ni sila, won't it be not advisable na iabay nimo ang siptage and then slaughter?
it was already approved and
Dili ba? Pero
confirmed by...
for the sake of discussion ba na ang kaning siptage, okay ni siya kay layo man ni ang kang diha man ni agyon sa natidasan.
Yes.
Nya,
Tuwara sa unahan din
mo
ang
lagi, mo
kangkuan.
lagi. You said na abay ning duha.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So abay lugar ang atong siptage o ang atong slaughterhouse in the near future kung atong i-establish ang slaughterhouse diha ug ang siptage.
Considering ang
Do you have the map para ipakita sa ilahag
wala
abay
lagi ko
bagini?
kuan, Mr. Chair, pero
Di ba kay delikado ba yan eh. Siptage kanay man yung mga septic tank diha ipang butang.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Nya iabay nimo sa slaughterhouse.
Distansya na siya. Andin ko naman toy
Sa mga kalaya po.
ventilation dia kanamay mga kahoy tong
Ali
kalyaw.
lagi ba yun ang mga advices from the expert. Dili ta diri magpakita.
Because, Mr. Chair,
Wala na dito gi-consider na slaughterhouse ang isa, yang isa septic tank.
that's already past the DNR kuan, Mr. Chair.
But it was not part of your report.
I have the book, Mr. Chair. Can allow to let them say the feasibility study of
Wala ba, pero at least
the septage,
and
Mr. Chair.
second is that okay ra ni ang septage na malayo. But kani slaughterhouse, ang yang location is sulod kaayo. Kung dito paluwas ka sa bangkod lugar, mani pa kag malay-balay, tuyok ka diha sa agi ka diha sa barangay 9 Purok 5, sulod pa ka ni balik na pud. So dili siya ideal.
Tan-awon sa nako ang kuan, sir, Mr. Chair, ha?
Kaya ang ideal ani I could remember na amon tay ideal gid ani ng slaughterhouse sa Aglayan gyud na property. Anyway, can you make this another time? Be prepared. Dili lang ka gadali-dali naman ta karon.
Mr. Chair, we will
Next na
invite
lang.
the committee, Mr. Chair, to show
Make
the
a
location map, Mr. Chair.
concise presentation ba?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Maps. And then answer those two things nganong duol ang septage ug ang slaughter, and then the location of the slaughterhouse is not really ideal. Gawas kung naay tulay diya sa 4 or sa San Jose na mulaos didto.
They have the explanation, Mr. Chair, si Ma'am Anit o ang kuan, kay DR, the one who
so,
proposing that, DNR. We will just invite the concerned.
Can you deeper this
veterinary.
today?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so make the necessary
I will just
one session maybe.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
September 14.
Because anybody can also review the feasibility study of the septage, Mr. Chair. That approves the area.
Okay.
Area there.
Sa septage man na.
Septage. And
Sa slaughterhouse.
the slaughterhouse also have his own proposal, Mr. Chair. So,
prepare a presentation.
yes, Mr. Chair. With that, Mr. Chair, I move to defer my report, Mr. Chair, and instead we will invite on the next session, Mr. Chair, the office of the DNR, City Enro, the veterinary, and the appraisal committee, Mr. Chair.
Okay, then
To shed light.
one more thing. Can you also provide the source of the budget?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Because it's almost 12 million.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So, any second? Any more discussion? Any objection? The chair stands on the motion of City Council Tortola to defer this matter. Next session is hereby approved. Okay, I do hope.
Thank you.
Okay. So, there are no other matters? City Councilor Sanggalang, you are recognized. Sana.
Additional, Mr. Chair, including the technical working group of the sewerage and septage management, because it is a separate executive order, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Okay.
The committee, the technical working group of the development of sewerage and septage management system of Malaybalay City.
Okay. Madam
In the person, chairperson is Engineer Roy E. Lapos.
Okay, Madam Secretary is ordered. Okay. City Councilor Sanggalang, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon once again. This is very quick, Mr. Chair. This is regarding the rising COVID-19 cases in the city of Malaybalay as well as in the province of Bukidnon. As you can remember, or as you can see, for the past few weeks, the COVID-19 cases in the province of Bukidnon, including the city of Malaybalay, has risen to an alarming case, Mr. Chair. In fact, the highest that we have was 2-3 days ago, wherein we have positive case of 160. Sa una, naaraman ta sa duha, tulo, karon lahi na gyud. And that is because of the Delta case nga naa sa province of Bukidnon and including the city of Malaybalay. And because of that, Mr. Chair, gakadaghan pud ang kakamatay, daghan pud ang kaka-hospital, and madunggan man nato no sa hospitals nato nga puno na gyud. Grabe na gyud ka taas ang linya. And because of that situation, the Bukidnon Medical Society has issued an official statement, Mr. Chair, requesting the IATF to increase the quarantine level from GCQ to ECQ. And however, the business sector is opposing on that because maapektuhan man pod gyud ang negosyo, tapos ang mga trabahante walay trabaho. Tapos ang local government unit pod, including the city of Malaybalay, maglisod na pod siguro paghatag og ayuda. So we will just, it is my opinion, Mr. Chair, that it is better for us, considering nga naanampod katong executive order, no, nga gibalik nato ang katong mga protocols nga mura na gyapon siya ECQ. GCQ ta, pero mura nag ECQ tungod sa mga sanitary checkpoint nato, quarantine pass nga atong ga-require sa katawhan, so mura na gyapon siya ECQ ang dating. However, as far as I know, there is a pending request by the local IATF, Mr. Chair, that bahalag dili ECQ basta kay GCQ with heightened restriction. And that request remains pending as of now. Murag 2 weeks na siguro na siya gipasa nato dito. So maybe if we pass a resolution supporting the local IATF to put the city of Malaybalay in GCQ with heightened restriction, siguro mapugos na nato ang National IATF nga mo-issue na gid niya ng atong gi-request kung pwede pagali the whole province of Bukidnon. So in that light, Mr. Chair, discussion.
Okay, make the necessary.
In that light, Mr. Chair, I move that this report be adopted, and I'm willing to
Okay,
accept any
any
discussion.
second? That's been moved. Okay, discussion.
Second, Mr. Chair.
City Councilor Tortola, recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My concern, Mr. Chair, kanimang kung kahitabo sa ato karon is ang problema gyud is ang contact tracing. Even though magkuan, ang contact tracing is very, very difficult and with our testing facilities. Mo gyapon delayed kayo. Kasagara atong mga cases dinhi, ma-charge na lang yung COVID bisag dili unta. Ako lang isa ka concern, Mr. Chair, because I'm nakadungog ko sa gahimuon atong sa Sorsogon on one of his interview sa TV nga nganong dito sa Sorsogon dili man sila suspect or case number so and so, ngalan man gyud sa tao ang ilang giibotang kung positive sa COVID. Munang kuan ba, ang best practices dito nga sayon ra kay ang contact tracing nila. Kay ngalan naman sa tao diretso, so everybody is aware nga sina positive, dili na ka magpaduol sa iya. So dili na kayo lisod ang contact tracing. And one of the suggestions of coming from sa atong constituent, Mr. Chair, na ilang idea nga kaniuntang positive sa COVID, kung possible ba nga butangan og tarpaulin didto nga kani sila quarantine karon. They are not allowed to go out. The barangay, ang barangay kuno, moy mo barangay og mga silingan munay buwantay nga dili sila makagawas. Then minus naman kunong ayuda sa gobyerno, ang mga silingan tinabangay na lang nga mo'y magpakaon sa ilang silingan nga gi-COVID. Pero urag pantry system nga ibutang ang pagkaon dito, ilakip sila sa lungag. Good suggestion coming from the constituent kay magtinabangay na lang kay lisod na kayo. Pag karon dili na gyud ta kamao nga unsa or kinsa ang na-COVID, magkahadlok na lang ta ba? Kung pwede ba, we will recommend to the IATF nga butangan na siya og tarpaulin katong balay nga atong gi quarantine nga simple provision nga tuwa didto unya maybe we can put an ordinance nga kung kinsay magtangtang adtong kuan nga wala pa mahuman ang iyang quarantine subject to penalty para gyud ma-disiplina sad ang uban nga gahi kay ulo nga di gyud kapatuo nga bisag positive na sila mugawas lang gihapon. That's all, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Just a quick response, Mr. Chair. No, I understand the sentiment of Honorable Tortola. However, as you can see, naa naman po tayo balaod nga kung positive ka tapos maggawas-gawas pagyapon ka, nanay corresponding penalty. And besides, kung butangan po nato og kining tarpaulin o i-identify nato ang mga ngalan murag kabalukid ba ta discriminatory kaayo ang gakahitabo suluoy gyapon. Stress na gali kay sa ila ha ato pag yung dungagan okay naman ang gabuhaton sa IATF nato or IMT nga butangan ra man to katong yellow tape bitaw ang balay para di sila makagawas to put a tarpaulin and to announce the name murag masobraan ra pod siguro ta for me ha. But anyway, that is a separate matter with respect to this motion that I am making, Mr. Chair. I would like to pass a resolution supporting the local IATF request to the national IATF to place the city government of Balay in GCQ with heightened restriction, Mr. Chair. I so move.
Okay, in a second. No more discussion. Any amendments?
Discussion, Mr. Chair.
Okay, City Councilor Aldeguer, you are recognized.
May I just know, Mr. Chair, where are we addressing the resolution, Mr. Chair? What is the process?
Okay, any response?
Are we going to send,
We
where
can-
are we going to
okay.
send our resolution to the province?
We can submit this resolution to our city IATF, to the provincial IATF, for them to follow up the pending request that we have been asking the national IATF. So, but most importantly, sa province gini.
Kuan ni province o region?
Yeah, region.
Thank you very much for that information, Mr. Chair.
Okay, okay. Any more discussion? So final na lang. Region, province, duha ka buk. Any other discussion from the members online? None. Members on the floor? The plenary, none. Any more amendments? Any objection? The chair's none. So most of city councilors ang lang is approved. Any recommendation?
I move to pass an urgent resolution concerning this matter, Mr. Chair.
Any second? Any more discussion? Any amendments? Objection? The chair's none. So the most of city councilors ang lang is approved. Since this is on a third reading, those in favor, raise your right hand or say aye.
Aye.
Unanimously approved. Thank you. Other matters? Since there are no other matters to be tackled, the chair declares an adjournment at exactly 3:26 in the afternoon. So ordered. Thank you, everyone.